All right. So looking, this year's been kind of crazy and busy, and with all the stuff that's going on, new job, things like that have been just kind of hectic and insane. And on top of that, with the new job, I haven't felt like doing much at all of pretty much anything. So um, I'm just gonna try and pump out here some concept art real quick. So let's see. There we go. So anyway, yeah, this with this new job is got a lot of issues going on. Um, I got to get things up to par, and there's a lot of like scheduling and just kind of brain fried at the end of the day. And so it's not like I don't feel like doing artwork. I just don't feel like any of it's like video worthy. Um, and so that is something that I don't know, I'm trying to remedy. I'm trying to figure out a workaround for it, but it just tends to be one of those things that um, I don't know. I just tend to like I do a little putting here and there, and lately I've been doing ZBrush and things like that. So ZBrush is been really fun and kind of a pain in the butt because it's just a little bit frustrating with the user interface, but I think I'm getting past that. And so I just wanted to kind of do something simple for the holiday season, and especially since don't feel like I haven't done any Batman stuff in a while, so I'm just gonna do real quick for some Batman stuff, and just kind of get a Mr. Freeze going on, especially since it's so goddamn cold outside. And I'm just gonna kind of do something a little bit off, a little bit different here. And anything, I don't know. Other than that, life has been just kind of hectic and chaotic and busy, and it's just been one of those things that oops. Let's merge this down. Let's do 4 today. And yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's just been one of those things that just kind of feels like it's just been like everything's going on, and I never have any time to do anything. I've been playing with the iPad, but I think the problem with the iPad is it just doesn't feel fluid enough. It's like, I don't know, when I'm working on the Cintiq has got a little bit more tooth to it, and so um, with the tooth going on the way it is, the tooth gives you a little bit more grip when you're doing stuff, and things like this are just more fun versus the Cintiq. I don't feel like the iPad. I don't feel like I have control over anything. It feels like, I don't know, like I'm I don't know. The iPad feels like I just don't have that access on things. I don't have that. It just feels like glass on glass, and so I get really frustrated working with it. And it's great for like just pumping out ideas, but again, I don't feel like any of the ideas are noteworthy enough to actually video record. um, this type of thing. So, I'm just kind of working on, just kind of working on this type of thing. And let's see here. Oops, I don't want to merge that. And I don't know. Other than that, Christmas, all the time and energy spent on the holidays here, and things just feel kind of, I don't know, they just feel kind of like blasé. And I've been looking at just doing different things. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to school, go back to some type of education thing, um, and that might be something that might fix my attitude towards things. I always feel better when I'm in school because I've got like set parameters and projects and things like that I'm just always kind of got that idea. So now that I've got the silhouette done, I'm just gonna kind of lower that opacity, and then I'm gonna start building up the idea and start building up this idea of the Mr. Freeze, and just kind of rough out the line work here. And this is based on the Batman Beyond stuff, so I'm just kind of roughing out the idea of stuff a little bit more here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to have, let's move this down a little bit. I want that. Deselect, eraser. I don't know. Like I said, it feels like I just haven't had anything worthy of worthy of anything lately. It's just kind of a frustration, and I can't think of a good idea for coming up with um, a good illustration. And I think I'm burnt out on my future distant projects. I think I've been burnt out on everything, um, and I think that is kind of the one thing that I'm frustrated with. I'm just kind of burnt out on all this stuff, and just don't feel like nothing is working for me anymore. So I need to kind of go in and develop something. I need to fix this problem because it's just really killing me. Um, I don't know. Just drawing line work, doing some of this thing here, just kind of lining this up here. And I don't know, with the Batman Beyond stuff. I don't know. It's something fun. It's doodling. It's not. I'm not taking it serious. I guess that's why I kind of chose it today, to just kind of get everything in there, get something a little bit more cartoony. I've been too much focusing on trying to do realistic stuff. Been doing for my professional development. I really getting more into the ZBrush type of thing. Oops. And I think that is I think that the ZBrush stuff has got a lot of potential, and I've always wanted to learn it. It's just my problem with ZBrush is the interface is just so hard, and with the interface as it is, with the interface being as struggling as I kind of, I always had issues with it. And, I don't know, like it's just not made for an artist to go through. Like when I first started, when ZBrush first kind of was like hitting the scenes and everything, um, the problem I had with ZBrush was just the time. I didn't have the time to like really get into it. I didn't have that. I didn't have that time, and then someone said, "Oh, here, use Mudbox," and Mudbox was just like, "Oh, here, it's like an artist tool. You just use it," and that was kind of a nice thing. And someone actually told me, and I don't know if it's true, but someone told me that Mudbox was actually made by Weta, so they didn't have to learn ZBrush. They could just start painting and doing their stuff. And so again, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. But so yeah, I jumped in the Mudbox, and then I went towards the concept art method, and I really haven't touched either one of them since. And I'm just seeing that there's a lot more possibility with ZBrush, where I can really quickly kind of block out stuff, and kind of block out that idea, and really quickly kind of block out the idea and make things the way it needs to be. And we're just going to do some kind of patterning here. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, kind of like that. And then I'm going to copy some of these elements here. And that's one of the things that I don't do enough. I don't, I try and want to paint everything myself, because I feel like painting it myself is going to really help out. The different, like, it'll get me as a better artist. But it's not really, I think one of the things I'm realizing is it's not how you do it, it's how it looks in the end. And so, I think that is, I think that's one of the things that I just need to sit and get over with, like, I think that's one of my issues, I need to do a lot more photo bashing. I mean, photo bashing would be, especially time is now like getting to be more and more, um, more and more of an issue. I'm like I said, I'm working a ton more, um, and I'm spending a lot more time doing the stuff that I don't necessarily want to be doing, but it's part of my job now. So one of the problems I have is, I need to, fix my time so that it has, much more relevance. Even though I don't do a ton of art, during the day, I used to be able to do like 3 4 hours and do it and have, fun with it and play. And I think one of the things now with the job in the way is that I have to figure out faster solutions to developing my character ideas. And I think I think that's what I need to kind of accomplish, and just kind of realize, hey, I can get a lot of this a lot more done in a lot less time if I start using all the extra stuff, using more 3D, more of the photo bashing, um, more of, that those type of elements to kind of come up with this, character. Um, and I think that is something that I need to really sit down and kind of work at, and just kind of say, okay, you know what, I've developed this, I've developed, I know the processes, I can do the processes, and it's not anything about, me sitting down. It's more of me getting over my, I don't know, my issues with it. And so, I think that is the kind of one of the key points is, I like doing things myself. I like to spend the time and detail stuff up, and detailing stuff up, and I like that idea of putting in, and spending the time to kind of develop, uh, develop the idea of, you know, my own, kind of variations. And I like the sketches and things like that. And I think just, everything feels like it has to be the rendered version that, that final illustration and everything. And I don't think it does anymore. I think, sometimes just the idea is good enough. Um, and I think, putting in that idea, developing that process, developing that process and putting putting in a little bit more, less time and stuff, and just coming up with the idea process. I mean, like I said, I've got like a whole page of like drawn out ideas and, um, drawn out ideas, things like that. Kind of like this idea here. Um, I think, doing less is more of what I need, especially since, you know, I don't know, I need to use more 3D and develop the idea of, you know, develop the idea of 3D just a little bit more. And my goal is to learn Keyshot and um, you know, I want to learn Keyshot for after I get done with ZBrush here, and then I also want to learn Marvelous Designer, and those are some things that I think are going to kind of speed up my workflow process and just kind of give me what I need to do as far as, you know, creating a better concept, a better idea of, you know, things like that. So oops. I don't know. I see in one that he got decapitated. I can't remember what episode that was. He got to get to that decapitated, I thought. Like his head was alive, but nothing else worked here. And so do something along those lines where the head is kind of built into something like that. Got those tubes in there. And I'm getting this weird patterning here from the original costume design. Bruce Timm, I think, is the designer for that particular costume design. So I'm kind of building up that idea and creating very simple colors or simple designs. Some buttons there. Let's give it the old Star Wars package design there. Thermostat, regulator, temperature, things like that. And sometimes when you draw your silhouette, it doesn't necessarily fit everything, so I'm trying to keep a repeating pattern going on in here too with different pieces. Let's erase this here. Just like I said, just trying to do something simple, and I don't like this one, but vents there. I don't know. On 2018 here, they've got the new the smoothing tool, and I think it actually does a little bit more. I'm actually kind of liking it. I got Lazy Numith in here, and that works really nice. When I use it, I often don't use it though. It's a lot of times it's just kind of um, sitting there in the background, and I don't use it that often. So I don't like that design that much, but I'll move on to the next one here. This is one I always thought he was kind of a tall character, taller than Batman. And something very simple like this. Let's just add some base designs here. I don't know, and I like thinking of the ideas. I do. This simple creativity idea, just of just coming up with concepts, doesn't necessarily mean that I want to finish everything as a whole item here. And I think that is one of the things that I need to focus on more, is just developing the idea. And I really I really just like the drawing side of it. And doing all the painting and things like that. It's fun, but I don't know, just coming up with the idea, the rough sketch, you know, coming up with that base concept um, base concept of like what this character looks like. And I think sometimes that's just more fun. Um, you know, more fun overall. It's just this. And I think sometimes this is just, like I said, this is just more interesting, more like, and I wish I could just simply do, more of this on a daily basis. I like giving critiques, and I like doing all this stuff. It's just I don't have time to do it on a daily basis. One of the things, just running a department, making sure all the fires are put out. I don't like that line. Making sure that fires are put out, and everybody has what they need. You know, that's just stressful. You know, and I ran, you know, a department in the military. You know, when I did that type of thing, you know, I ran that and did that. Um, um, and I did. You know, let's lighten this up. Let's colorize it. Let's turn it a little bit blue. Maybe even saturate that blue a little bit more. So we got that. Let's clean up some of this here. No, and I don't know. Like I said, I ran in the military, and it was nowhere near as stressful, I think, as this. I think because a lot of what I did in the military was not very. It was all done. I mean, it was like fill out this form, do this paperwork, but this one's more about fixing little problems and you know, helping everybody out and things like that. So it's not, I don't know. But I am going to GGC hopefully this spring here, and I'm really, like I said before, I'm contemplating these other classes. And I think by contemplating these other classes, I think that is that's something that I don't know. I think these other classes, if I take them, you know, I think they're gonna kind of give me a direction to go in, and I don't know if I have a direction, I don't feel so lost. I guess I think that's one of my biggest issues. Is you know, it's not that I can't do the work. It's that the creativity of the work. Um, it's just I look at all this stuff and I'm like, you know, the stuff I like feels like it's I don't know, it's just been done before. Like I don't feel like I want to do something that somebody else has done. Like, oh hey, look, giant skeleton in a deserted, you know, desert or um, things like that. And I look at that and I'm like, oh, you know, that's cool, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to be that guy that pretty much does the same thing over and over as everybody else. Um, let's go. You know, and I look at that and I'm like, you know, I don't know. Let's, all right. Let's pick this. I'll just start adding in some of these bits and pieces here to all right. All right. So I got that in there. So I've got my color changes. And just going to make sure everything's kind of cleaned up here. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but just kind of the big pieces. Alright, next, I'm just going to take some dark. Let's change this to multiply. And we're just going to give me a light source so that the shadows fall on this side. And I'm doing things really rough here, so I'm going to try putting in some real base shadows here. I think putting in these real basic colors kind of gives me a real quick rough idea. What I'm going to do is, there we go, since I've got the overtone in there, and then I'm going to just go into filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and there we go, just a little bit of blur. So that's in there, and I'm going to just jump over to my website and see what kind of style I've got on some of these here. Look at my Batman Beyond stuff here. Okay, so then with that in there, I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to change this one to screen. Kind of the same. Let's go ahead and blur that a little bit. And let's add that as a cleanup. Let's start to clean up this a little bit. And so you see, I've got, you know, real basic ideas. I think what I'm going to do is do my line work here. Lower up my guy's face here a little bit. And transform that just a hair. And I'm going to take and pick the dark color. And add this individual one in here like so. And there's my base concepts. And from there, I'm going to, I think I'll just deal with the line work and clean that up a little bit. All right.